A Journey Through the Backrooms. You don't remember walking in. You were somewhere else just a moment ago, or maybe longer, but that thought folds in on itself the moment your foot touches the carpet. It's beige. A muted, almost yellowed tone, like the paper in an old printer left out in the sun. There's a pattern repeating underfoot. Interlocking diamonds or squares, slightly skewed, familiar but not quite placeable. If you look too long, the lines blur, like they're sliding gently out of focus. You glance behind you, there's no door, no frame, no threshold, just more hallway. Overhead, long fluorescent lights hum with a soft, insistent buzz. It's not loud, but it's constant, like a wasp trapped inside glass, just out of sight. The ceiling tiles are mostly white, though some sag slightly or show faint water stains like faded bruises. The grid is uneven, but someone tried once to make it symmetrical. The hallway itself is not narrow, but it feels close. The walls are the same pale beige, just with a greenish tint that makes you think of old wallpaper in an office no one loved. Occasionally the wall juts out slightly where two sections meet, creating a soft break in rhythm. A corner, a return, another curve. The air smells like nothing specific, but your mind labels it instantly. Waiting room, maybe airport, maybe dentist, somewhere people pass through. You walk, the hallway turns left, then left again, and again. It doesn't spiral, it meanders, as though the building was sketched without commitment and built anyway. Your steps fall quietly on the soft carpet. There's no echo, not really, but something in the silence answers each footfall just to be too late. You try not to listen for it. You pass a portion of a wall where the wallpaper, or whatever material it is, bubbles slightly from beneath. It's been patched, badly. The seam looks like it was smoothed over with the palm of someone's hand. Beside it, a dent in the wall suggests a suitcase or a cleaning cart once collided here. There's a story in that dent, but you won't learn it. After a few more turns, the loops begin to feel deliberate, as though something wanted you to notice the repetition. You pass a corner where a patch of carpet has been cut and replaced, a slightly different dye lot, just enough to draw your eye. The edge is fraying. You stop, you listen. There's a vent overhead, and though you can't feel it, the air changes slightly when it sighs. The carpet shivers beneath it, just enough to make you wonder if it's alive, or if you're alone. Then you see something ahead. At the end of the next turn, the lighting softens. There's a door, not like the others, because there haven't been any others. It's metal, painted a worn yellow like a school bus washed too many times. It doesn't match the walls. It's the only thing here that doesn't. You approach. The door is slightly ajar. No label, no lock, just a glimpse of something different. A janitor's closet, but already you can tell. It's too big for a closet. And it's waiting. The yellow door opens without resistance. No creak, no click, just a soft give, as though it was already halfway open before you touched it. The metal feels warmer than you expected. Warm like skin, not sunlight. You hesitate for a moment and then step inside. The lighting changes immediately. It's still fluorescent, but different. Softer, amber-toned, as if filtered through dust or tinted glass. The air is thicker here. Not musty, not foul, just dense, like the room has been holding its breath for a long time. You're standing in a janitor's closet, or at least something pretending to be one. There's a mop bucket near the door, industrial yellow with rust forming around the wheels. A mop leans against the corner, slightly damp, even though it smells faintly of lemon cleaner. The mop strands are too neat, too unused. Hanging beside it is a dustpan, clipped carefully to the wall. It doesn't look like it's ever touched dirt. The floor under your feet is linoleum now, pale gray with dull scuff marks that stretch farther than they should. As you walk forward, your footsteps feel heavier, almost muffled, as though the air itself has started absorbing the sound. On the left wall, the metal shelf holds rows of identical plastic spray bottles. They're all labeled in black marker, simple block letters on white tape. One says Tuesday, another says floor, others read neutral, extra, unclear. The labels don't make sense, but they don't feel wrong either. You resist the urge to pick one up. Something about them feels off limits, not dangerous, just private. There's a folding step stool tucked beneath the bottom shelf. Someone has written on it with a black marker, "Don't." The rest of the sentence, if there was one, has been scrubbed away. You continue walking. The room doesn't end where it should. It keeps going. You round a stack of cardboard boxes labeled Miss, Seasonal, and, inexplicably, Shoelaces, and realize you've gone much farther than the footprint of the hallway could have allowed. The closet has become a corridor. There's a metal sink basin bolted to the wall, its faucet still dripping in irregular intervals. The basin is dry, as though the water evaporates before it lands. A paper towel roll hangs above it, empty except for one final sheet, twisted and torn. The towel has a printed pattern of smiling lemons. To the right of the sink, a corkboard is pinned with faded notes and crooked pushpins. Most of the paper has yellowed beyond legibility, but one crisp sheet stands out. It reads, "Do not report this room." No signature, no letterhead. The corridor opens again into a wider space. The walls here are lined with shelves, dull metal and buckling slightly under the weight of their contents, stacked boxes, plastic tubs, bundled extension cords. One box is open, and inside it are dozens of identical key rings, each tagged with a paper label. Every label reads exit. The room begins to feel too large to be real. You look behind you. The door is still visible, but barely. Smaller now, swallowed by the distance. You're not lost, but you're not where you were. Near the far wall, an industrial trash bin stands with its lid open. Nothing's inside, but as you pass it, you catch the smell of ozone and dryer sheets, sharp and sudden, like an old memory breaking through dust. You finally come to a stop beneath a hanging light bulb. It swings slightly, though you didn't touch it. The pull string is knotted and frayed, and when you reach for it, it twitches away just an inch, just enough to make you pause. There's another door at the far end now. This one wooden, painted a dull beige with no window and no knob. Just a flat brass push plate worn with fingerprints. It hums faintly, the kind of vibration you feel in your palm before you even touch it. You push gently and the door opens. Ahead of you, chairs, dozens of them, all facing forward. You step through the door and the temperature changes. It's subtle, just a few degrees cooler, like walking into a basement that hasn't been used in a while. The air is still, not stale exactly, but unmoving. Time has pooled in here, settled into the carpet, folded itself between the chairs. There are 30 of them, 6 neat rows of 5, all facing forward, all perfectly aligned. The chairs themselves are identical, thin metal legs, beige cushions that look just soft enough to sit on, but not for long. The kind of chair chosen by someone who expected no one to stay, but didn't want to be accused of indifference. You stand still for a moment, letting your eyes adjust. The lights here don't buzz. They shine quietly, evenly, casting soft shadows beneath each chair leg. The carpet is a darker gray than before, with tiny flecks of blue woven into its pattern. It's the kind of design meant to hide stains without ever looking clean. You can see where a coffee cup was dropped once, where the janitor missed with a vacuum, where someone sat and waited, maybe longer than they were supposed to. At the front of the room is a blank whiteboard. Nothing written on it, no eraser, no marker tray, though one dry marker lies on the floor just beneath it. The cap is gone. The tip is worn white from being dragged across the surface too many times. You leave it where it is. A wall clock hangs above the board, slightly off-center. The hands are stuck. One points at the 6, the other hovers somewhere between 10 and 11. The glass face is cracked in the corner, but not enough to shatter, just enough to suggest something tried and failed. You walk between the rows of chairs, careful not to disturb their symmetry. Each one is exactly the same distance apart. Someone went to great lengths to place them this precisely. You feel the pressure of that effort, lingering. All except one. Third row, fourth chair, from the left. It's different. The cushion is green, not beige like the others. Not wildly out of place, but unmistakably wrong. A sticky note clings to the backrest. Bright yellow, curling slightly at the edge. In neat handwriting it reads, "Reserved." Nothing else, no name, no time, just the word. You run your finger across the edge of the note. It's fresh, newer than the room. The ink hasn't bled. The corners haven't curled all the way yet. You don't know what that means, but you feel it means something. You sit. The chair creaks faintly. The others don't move. The room doesn't shift. Nothing happens. But the silence around you tightens. It grows fuller. It's not oppressive, not eerie, just aware, like something has acknowledged that you've arrived. You sit for a while, minutes, maybe more. There's no urgency, no suggestion that you should leave, but you know somehow that this isn't the final stop. To your right, in the far corner, there's a plastic folding table with a half-empty water bottle and a single paper napkin resting beside it. The water's label is blank. The cap is still sealed. The napkin has been printed with small blue lettering, "Welcome back." You don't remember being here before. But the message doesn't feel wrong. Behind the table, there's a closed cabinet. It doesn't have a handle, just a thin seam where the doors meet. You consider trying to open it, but don't. There's another door on the far side of the room. This one is a dull office tan, the kind of color that isn't a choice so much as a default. It has no markings, no exit sign, just a silver handle with slight scratches from repeated use. The wall around it is bare. You rise from the chair. As you walk forward, you hear a faint creak. Just one chair. Somewhere behind you. Not loud, not menacing, just a shift. You don't look back. You reach the door and pause with your hand on the handle. Just for a breath, then you open it and step into the next room. The door closes softly behind you. This room is brighter, but not warmer. The overhead lights are too white, too even, casting no shadows and leaving everything slightly overexposed. You've entered what feels like an elevator lobby, wide, tiled floors, recessed lighting, and a low, clean ceiling, the kind of place meant for transition. But there are no elevators. Buttons are set into the wall where doors should be. They glow faintly, up, down, and a third one with no label. You press none of them. There's no point, no seams in the wall, no indication anything would open. To your left, a potted plant rests beside a fake marble bench. The plant is plastic. its leaves slightly bent, and the dirt it's been stuck into isn't real either, just molded dark foam speckled to mimic soil. A small white tag sticks out from behind one of the leaves. It reads, "Fern, 2." The air here is perfectly still, yet somehow faintly moving. You feel it not on your skin, but behind your eyes, like an almost breeze that never arrives. Somewhere above, hidden speakers play a loop of soft music, barely audible, like a memory of a shopping mall you haven't visited since childhood. The tune is unplaceable, but familiar in that way only dreams are. You take a step forward, and the floor tiles begin to catch your attention. At first glance, they're uniform, soft, gray, lightly textured. But after a few more paces, you notice a pattern. Every 8th tile has the same tiny hairline crack in its corner, a barely visible line that breaks the illusion of perfection. You count them without meaning to. 8, 16, 24. There are signs on the walls, printed in bland sans serif font. Level B1, no exit this direction, please remain calm. None of them feel necessary, and yet they've been installed with purpose. One of the signs is crooked. You don't fix it. To your right is a trash can, sealed shut with a silver lid. No foot pedal, no flap. It hums faintly. Just a tone. A low, gentle E-note that blends into the music and then disappears. No one notices it except you, and only once. As you move toward the far end of the room, something shifts. The lights above you dim, not all at once, just one by one in a row behind you, a soft fading like distant streetlights turning off at dawn. You stop. The last light flickers, holds, then fades too. But the lights ahead stay bright. There was no sense of threat, no urgency, just momentum. You were always going forward. At the end of the hall is a wall with no door, but there's a seam in the floor. A break in the tiles leading to a slight downward slope. Not stairs, just a gentle ramp. And beyond it, a new sound, the faint echo of something cavernous, hollow. A space larger than the one you're in. You follow it, and as you step across the seam, you notice a faint line of yellow paint on the floor beneath your feet. It's not fresh, but it points ahead, and now you are somewhere else. You know the room is large before you see it. You feel it in the change of air, cooler, drier, with a hollow stillness that clings to tile. The door opens slowly, and at first all you see is pale blue. Soft, faded, like the color of sky through dirty glass. Then the scent finds you. Not chlorine, not quite, just the ghost of it, the memory of water that hasn't touched this place in years. The pool is empty. It stretches long across the center of the room, rectangular and sunken, with gentle steps at one end and a diving board at the other. The diving board is intact, but its rubber surface is cracked in a way that suggests one last jump happened a long time ago. The pool's floor is painted with lane lines and depth markers, still legible though dulled, 3 feet, 5 feet, 12 feet. You walk to the edge. No water, no puddles, but the air still echoes, like it's waiting for a splash. You step down onto the first tile step. It's clean, too clean. There's no debris, no dust, just faint streaks where something heavy might have been dragged across the basin. The tile beneath your feet squeaks softly with your movement. It's the only sound, except for the gentle groan of the building around you. At the bottom of the pool, near the centerling, floats A pool toy. It's a ring, clear plastic, tinted blue, with cartoon whales printed around the edge. It hovers about 2 feet off the floor. Not resting on anything, not tethered, just floating. You don't approach it. You're not afraid of it. But it doesn't seem to be for you. You climb out of the pool on the opposite side using a metal ladder bolted into the wall. The rungs are cold. One wobbles beneath your foot. You steady yourself with the edge of the tile and glance back once more. The ring hasn't moved. It spins gently in the still air just once, and then settles again. Above the pool, the ceiling is high, arched, lined with skylights that don't let in any sun. The sky beyond them is gray and unmoving, a ceiling of its own, layered on top of this one. A second false roof above the first. You don't question it. There are rows of plastic chairs against the wall. Some are stacked, others sit apart, angled slightly like people once moved them without meaning to. A long metal bench sits beneath a sign that reads "No running." The letters are peeling, and beneath the sign is a red plastic whistle on a length of cord. It sways slightly, even though the air is still. You walk past the chairs. Your footsteps echo, true echoes, this time, the kind that double back with a slight delay. You hear yourself leave. There's a narrow hallway ahead, darker than the rest of the room. Just before it begins, you pass a small lifeguard stand. It's empty. A red rescue float leans against the side. A pair of sunglasses sits on the seat. Cheap plastic, one arm bent too far to wear. They catch the light for a second as you pass. The hallway turns once, then again, and the light changes again. Pink now, or maybe just warm white, filtered through something thin. You reach a doorway without a door, framed in tile. On the other side, noise, not voices, not machines, just light, color, electric, and blinking. An arcade, empty, of course, but still alive. The light hits you first. It blinks in a rhythm that doesn't match the sound because there is no sound. The machines are all on, every screen glowing, every game waiting. But it's quiet. No music, no 8-bit bleeps, no voices shouting over the roar of a skee-ball machine. The carpet beneath your feet is wild, loud geometric shapes in purples and reds, and blue lightning bolts shoot across it like a roller rink frozen in time. It's soft and thick, almost too plush, like walking across an old blanket soaked in neon. You take a few steps in. The air smells faintly like melted plastic and old popcorn. Not unpleasant, just specific. A vending machine glows against the wall, its display full of colorful buttons and blank LED pricing. One of the snack spirals is empty, halfway turned, like something tried to fall but never did. To your left is a row of racing games. 4 identical cars, side by side, their plastic seats gleaming under the overhead light. The first one is red, the last one is yellow. You glance at the screens. Each one is on the same menu. Insert coin to play. The steering wheels move slightly when you touch them with the dry squeak of age. You don't sit down. In the corner, you pass a claw machine. It's filled with plush toys, all the same character, though you don't recognize it, a strange, lumpy creature with too many eyes and a smile that's sewn on crooked. They're packed tight, wedged against each other like they're sleeping in a pile. One claw is halfway lowered, frozen mid-swing, gripping nothing. Beneath the glass, a small stack of tickets is crumpled at the base. Someone dropped them once, or maybe the machine did. None of the buttons respond when you press them. but the machines don't seem broken, just paused. A prize counter runs along the back wall. Behind the glass are rows of items with faded price tags, plastic rings, glow-in-the-dark slime, a lava lamp with no cord. A dusty rack of friendship bracelets hangs from a rotating display, still spinning slowly, though no one's touched it. The air in the arcade is just a little too still. Not in a way that suffocates, but in a way that notices you. You walk past a dance machine. Its floor is lit up, flashing arrows in blue and pink. The music never starts, but the screen blinks instructions. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, and then it resets, over and over. Next to it, a photo booth. The curtain is drawn back, revealing an empty seat. The screen says, "Smile," and flashes once when you look inside. It doesn't print anything. There's no slot for photos. You keep moving. There are cabinets here you recognize by shape, but not by name. Fighting games, a pinball machine shaped like a castle, a hockey table with no puck. The paddles rest quietly on either side, magnets still humming inside. You can feel them if you put your hand close to the glass. On one wall, a mural is painted. Bright colors, stylized stars, characters you don't quite remember from cartoons you might have seen. The paint is flaking in some places, like the room tried to forget itself halfway through decorating. You approach a small change machine tucked beside a row of stools. Its light blinks, exact change only, though no coins are accepted anymore. Just below it, someone has left a paper cup filled with tokens. They're heavy and warm when you touch them. They smell like old metal and sunlight. You don't take any. The exit from the arcade is easy to miss, just a shadowy hallway. To the side, past a stack of plastic chairs and a sign that says restrooms, though there are no doors, only darkness in that direction. You follow the hallway instead. It's carpeted, but the pattern fades. The shapes dissolve into beige. And suddenly, there are lockers. A bell rings once, faint and distant. Then silence. Just a corridor now, just the next place. Hallway narrows, and the lighting shifts again. Cooler now, slightly blue like the sun filtered through an overcast sky. The air carries a dry scent. Chalk, old paper, maybe floor wax. You've entered a school hallway. But there are no classrooms. Just a stretch of beige-painted walls, broken up by rows of lockers. They run in both directions, waist-high, scuffed, and mostly closed. None of them have locks. A few are open slightly, as if left that way on purpose. You walk past one and glance inside. It's empty, except for a rubber band ball, resting gently on the shelf. It's perfectly round, untouched. There's no sound, but your steps feel muffled, like the carpet from before has followed you here, just thinner now. The floor tiles change again, white with flecks of black, like schools and hospitals and places meant to be cleaned more than lived in. The bulletin board sits crooked on one wall. The glass is cracked, and the pushpins inside hold up curling announcements printed in Comic Sans. The events have no dates, just vague phrases like Student Assembly, Mandatory, and Today is Spirit Day. A paper at the bottom simply reads, You belong here, but the corner is torn off, and the rest of the sentence is missing. The ceiling tiles sag here more than before. One of them has been pushed slightly out of place, revealing a dark space beyond. You don't stop. You don't look up again. A trophy case runs along one side of the hall. You slow as you pass it, expecting to see the usual lineup. Soccer trophies, academic awards, faded ribbons. But there's nothing inside. Just the shelves. Bare glass. a few sticky outlines where something once sat. On the top shelf, a single paper star has been taped to the wall behind the case. It's hand-cut, lopsided, and colored yellow with marker. A name is written in the center, smudged beyond recognition. You continue on. Lockers again. Dozens of them, some with faded name tags stuck to the vents. Jordan, L, or just a single letter like E. One locker is covered in stickers. Dinosaurs, hearts, tiny peace signs. Every sticker has been carefully peeled halfway off, then flattened back down. The hallway splits at an angle. No signage, no maps, just a soft breeze that seems to drift down the left fork. You follow it. There are classroom doors here, but they don't open. They don't have knobs, only those long vertical windows. Most of them covered with thick brown paper taped from the inside. You peer through one of the few clear panes. The room is empty. No desks, no chairs, just a tiled floor and a single blackboard with something half erased across the surface. It might be a diagram. Or handwriting. The line curves once, then vanishes under a smear of dust. Farther down there's a drinking fountain built into the wall. You press the button and it hisses like it wants to work, but no water comes out. A brown paper cone cup sits on the edge of the basin, collapsed and dry. You pass a classroom labeled Art in peeling block letters. The door is slightly ajar, but when you push it, it doesn't budge. Behind the window you can just make out rows of easels. All of them are facing the back wall. No paintings, just blank canvases. You step back. Somewhere above you a bell rings once, sharp, clean, and short. It doesn't repeat. There's no rush of students, no locker slamming, no movement at all, just the echo. You reach the end of the hallway. The floor tiles change again, wide now, with a faint shimmer to them, like vinyl that's been mopped too many times. A large sign above the archway reads, Food Court. But this isn't a mall, and no one's eaten here in a long, long time. The sign overhead reads, Food Court, but there's no smell of food. No grease, no fryer oil, no sugar or soda syrup, just dust. Clean dust, if such a thing exists. It settles lightly on the surfaces, softens the edges of everything like powdered sugar on a meal that never arrived. The space opens wide, larger than any room so far. Ceilings stretch up in a tiled dome with fluorescent lights set in a pattern that makes you think of skylights, but there's no actual sky, just pale bulbs humming overhead in a grid too tall to reach. Plastic trays sit on nearly every table, not stacked, not cleaned, just left. Some hold empty wrappers, crumpled napkins, a straw wrapper twisted into a spiral. One tray has a half-finished crossword puzzle from the back of a kid's menu. The pencil is still beside it, dulled and unbroken. The tables are fixed to the floor, round speckled with chairs that swing out on hinges. Some have turned sideways, stuck in motion. One chair rocks slowly, just once, before stopping. Faded signs hang above the shuttered food stalls. Burger Town, Spice Island, Yogurt World. The fonts are cheerful and outdated, with worn decals of food you can't quite identify. The pictures are low resolution, like they've been photocopied too many times. One sign has fully fallen, propped awkwardly against the counter with the words facing the wall. You walk past the registers. Each one has its drawer open. The screens are cracked or blank, except for one, which flashes in green block text, "Thank you." It blinks once every 5 seconds. You count. There's no menu you can read. The letters are either missing or too faded to make out. One place still has a lit display showing 3 combo meals, The food in the images is strangely proportioned. Burgers too flat, fries stacked like toy blocks, drinks with no condensation on the cups. Unreal. The soda fountain is silent, its levers intact, but a slow stream of condensation drips from beneath the ice tray onto the floor. No puddle forms. The water simply disappears. You pass a napkin dispenser. It's empty, but a single straw wrapper is jammed inside where the napkins should go. You pull it out. It tears in the middle and floats to the floor. No signs of life, but no signs of decay either. Everything here is paused and preserved as though waiting for a rush that never came. There's a children's area at the far end of the court, rounded booths with faded crayons melted into their seats. A sign above it reads, "Tot and Tastes," and underneath in tiny font, "Every bite an adventure." You lift one of the crayons. It leaves no mark when you test it against the table. You turn toward the janitor's closet in the back corner. But there isn't one. It's only a hallway again, lit by a single flickering bulb above a heavy-looking door marked "Storage." The bulb buzzes louder as you approach, not angry, just tired. You reach the door. It doesn't have a handle, just a push bar. You press it gently, and it swings open on quiet hinges. It's darker inside, cooler. The air smells like cardboard and electricity. And the boxes? The boxes are labeled with things no one should store. The door swings closed behind you with a slow, padded click. The air inside is thick, dry, still, edged with the smell of cardboard, duct tape, and old dust. You're surrounded by boxes. Hundreds of them. Maybe more. They stretch floor to ceiling in uneven stacks, some bowed from age, others pristine and freshly taped. The overhead light is a single bulb, bare and swinging slightly from a cord, though there's no breeze. It casts a long, slow arc of movement across the room, like a pendulum that doesn't measure time, only space. Every box is labeled, not with barcodes or shipping slips, but with single words scrawled in black marker. Seasons, shoelaces, echo, plan B. You move past them slowly, reading more as you go. Half-thoughts, June, paper cuts. One box is labeled falling asleep mid-sentence. Another simply says, if. The handwriting varies, some blocky, some cursive, some elegant, others scribbled in a hurry. The ink is fading on some, fresh on others. A few have been relabeled, older words scratched out beneath new ones. You try not to read them all, but your eyes catch them anyway. Missed calls, things I almost said. Backups, loose change. The stacks grow tighter as you walk farther in. There's a narrow path between the boxes, barely shoulder width at times. The floor creaks underfoot. Not wood, but something that sounds like it wants to be. Beneath one of the shelves, a small metal bin holds rolls of masking tape, all half-used, each labeled extra. You don't know what you're looking for, but you keep walking. At a fork in the path there's a filing cabinet. One drawer is slightly open. Inside are folders unlabeled, uneven and far too many to count. The folders are empty, except for one near the back that holds a single sheet of paper. It's blank on both sides, but it's been folded in half, then in half again, and the creases are precise. You put it back. You find a shelf of clipboards hanging from nails. Each has a sign-in sheet with no names. The top of each page reads, "Item received. Storage location verified." There are no times, no dates, just the word "verified" stamped at the bottom of every sheet. The swinging light bulb above you creaks softly, changing the angles of the shadows every few seconds. Shapes stretch and compress. Corners disappear. The further you walk, the more everything feels gently tilted, like the room itself has slouched a little to one side. In one alcove you find a cluster of mismatched drawers, wooden, metal, even plastic, none attached to any furniture. They've been stacked like bricks, drawers out, some ajar. Inside them are marbles, rubber bands, keys without teeth, pennies too worn to spend. One drawer holds a set of identical plastic wristbands, all reading "Access expired." On the far wall, a bulletin board has been pinned with dozens of index cards. Each one bears a single word or phrase. Maybe later. Rain check. Try again. They're pinned at odd angles, layered over each other like fallen leaves. One card has been stuck upside down and reads, "Never mind." The light above you swings a little harder now. You look up. There's no vent, no draft, just that same single bulb, and the room breathing a little. You follow the path to the back, where a single chair sits in front of a mirror. The mirror is old, freckled with black spots and edged in a rusted brass frame. You expect to see yourself. You do. But not quite. The reflection lags by half a second. Just enough to notice. Just enough to wonder. You move, it mimics. But a little slower. And when you blink, it doesn't. Not the first time. You step away from it, gently, without turning your back. You find another door nearby. Tall, narrow, painted the same soft beige as the hallway you started in. There's no handle, just a metal push plate. You press it. The mirror doesn't move, but the light above it flickers once, and the next room opens. A hallway of mirrors, but now they are on both sides, and you are not centered. You step into a hallway lined with mirrors. Not glass walls, mirrors. Actual frames hung at even intervals along both sides, each one slightly different in size and style. Some with gilded edges, others rusted and bare. A few are cracked. One is broken completely, the shards carefully arranged in a shallow metal tray beneath it, like collected leaves. Your footsteps echo faintly now, and each step is echoed in visual rhythm. You walk, and 20 reflections walk with you, but not all of them move exactly when you do. You pause, so do most of them. One doesn't. It takes an extra half step before catching up. The mirrors are clean, too clean. No dust, no streaks, no smudges except the ones that match your movements perfectly, or almost perfectly. You slow your breathing. The hallway is quiet but not silent. There's a soft hum in the walls, or maybe in your ears, like a tone just beyond hearing. The mirrors don't amplify it, they absorb it. You pass a tall oval mirror that shows you from the back, even though you're facing forward. You stop and turn, the reflection doesn't change. You see yourself walking away, one hand swaying gently at your side. When you blink, so does it. But a second late, the floor beneath you is carpet again. A muted gray-blue, with faint diamonds. The pattern repeats every 12 tiles. Exactly. You know this because you count it without trying. You glance at the mirrors. In some of them, the floor pattern is different. In one, the tiles are red. In another, they are gone entirely, replaced by wood. The temperature hasn't changed, but your skin feels cooler now. Not chilled, just quieter. Your breath still fogs the mirror nearest to you, even though you're not breathing hard. The condensation forms briefly, then vanishes in an instant. Too fast. You keep walking. Some mirrors are hung too high to see yourself, others too low. A few are angled, tilting down slightly, showing the top of your head. In one, You're wearing a hat you don't own. You look closer. It's still you. But you don't remember the hat. It's gray wool, with a small feather tucked into the band. It suits you in a strange way. Then you blink, and in the next mirror, it's gone. The reflections begin to drift as you go deeper. In one mirror, you walk slower than you are. In another, you're ahead of yourself, as though you've already passed that point. One reflection stops entirely and watches you go. You don't feel afraid, but you do feel thinned out, like you're being gently poured into other versions of yourself. You pause at a mirror with a long crack down the center. Your reflection is split, but the two halves don't quite line up. One side smiles, the other looks tired. You step back and the glass hums quietly, almost like it's vibrating, a low tone more felt than heard. The hallway continues. There is no end in sight. But there is a door. You notice it at the same time in real life and in one of the mirrors. It appears over your shoulder, even though it's in front of you. When you turn, it's there, exactly as the reflection promised. The frame is narrow. The door is dark. You place your hand on the knob. It's brass, worn smooth, and surprisingly warm. Behind you, one of the mirrors fogs again, but you didn't exhale. You step through the door and enter a place larger than it should be. A mall, or something that used to be one, but only half of it remains. It opens around you without warning, wide, tall, and strangely bright. You step into the remains of a shopping mall, though it feels more like a memory of one than a real place. There are no crowds, no echoes of footsteps, no music, but the space is large enough to feel distant from yourself, like your presence is a small ripple in a vast, still pond. The storefronts line both sides of the corridor, but none are complete. Some are missing walls, others have only a sign above empty space. One store appears whole, until you look closely and realize it has no floor, just tiled edge and then open darkness. Another looks like it was carved out of a larger shape, the shelves still holding items that don't make sense together, garden gloves, picture frames, a single jar of glitter labeled Tuesday. Mannequins stand in several windows. Most are missing arms. Some are missing faces. Their clothing is mismatched. Formal gowns paired with hiking boots, swimsuits over sweaters. One wears only a scarf and has a shopping bag where its head should be. The logo on the bag is faded to illegibility, though you think you recognize the font, almost. The escalators are motionless. You walk past one and catch the faint smell of warm plastic, like something powered down only moments ago. The rubber handrails are cracked and slightly sticky. You place your hand on one as you pass. It doesn't respond. The floor tiles here alternate between beige and light pink, in a soft checkerboard pattern that grows more chaotic the farther you walk. At some point, the tiles stop being square. They elongate, then warp, then twist back into perfect lines again, just for a moment, before slanting once more. You pass a bookstore with no books, only covers. Hundreds of them, arranged on shelves, neat and colorful. Each one has a title, always late. Your Other Life. Instructions not included. When you pull one off the shelf, it's weightless. The inside is blank. No paper, no spine, just the front and back, hinged together like a whisper of a story. Across from it, a food stall is open, lights on, nothing cooking, or a microwave hums behind the counter even though the cord trails nowhere. A menu board lists strange items in all caps: wish flakes, thyme pie, smile sticks. All out of stock. There's a child's ride beside the wall, a fiberglass pony bolted to a rusting base. The coin slot glows green. You consider sitting on it just to see what it would do. You don't. The air smells like bubblegum and dust. Every few steps you see an indoor plant, real but neglected, brown at the edges, alive but only technically. One planter has a small card stuck in the dirt. It reads, "Please water yesterday." A skylight overhead reveals only static gray, like an overcast screen. The light that comes through doesn't cast shadows. It lands everywhere at once. The brightness is soft, but disorienting. You can't tell what time it might be. The clocks are all missing, or melted, or frozen. At the end of the corridor is a fountain, dry. The tiled basin is filled with coins, hundreds, maybe thousands, all facing heads up, all the same coin. You lean closer. They're blank. No profile. No numbers. Just small, round discs of smooth metal, dulled by repetition. You pass by a bench shaped like a giant shoe. On the seat is a newspaper. The headline is printed in bold, "Sailing as never." Every page inside it is identical. Just that same sentence, repeated again and again. There is music now. Faint muzak drifting through ceiling speakers in a slow, too sweet melody. It cuts out for half a beat, then returns. You don't know the song. You've definitely heard it before. At the far wall, there's a door marked "Waiting Room." You didn't see it from a distance, but it's unmistakably there now. A small sign beneath the lettering reads, "No entry without appointment." The door is already open. You walk through and find chairs again, but this time there are no exits at all. You enter quietly, though there's no one to disturb. The room is square, low-ceilinged, and lit by panels of soft, even light that cast no shadows. The walls are a pale seafoam green, the kind often chosen by someone who had to pick a color but didn't care. The floor is carpet again, dull gray, low-piled, worn smooth along the path between the door and the chairs. There are rows of them, dozens, arranged in a horseshoe facing inward, like a group therapy circle, too polite to begin. The chairs are padded, lightly stained, and perfectly empty. One has a single coin resting on the seat. You pick it up. It's smooth, no markings, just a cool circle of metal. You set it down again. In the far corner, a vending machine hums softly. It's full, but not with snacks. The contents are unrecognizable. Packaged items with no logos, colors with no meaning. One shelf holds boxes labeled "Pause," "Later," "Just in case." Another holds rows of identical bottles filled with what looks like mist. There are no prices. The machine's display reads, "Temporarily available." You don't try to buy anything. Along the opposite wall, an aquarium stretches from one end of the room to the other. The water is clear. The pebbles are clean. There's a plastic castle, a ceramic log, a tiny bubbling chest that opens and closes every 12 seconds. But there are no fish, just the illusion of a place for them to be. You sit. The cushion gives a little, then stops. It's not comfortable, not uncomfortable either. It's a chair that's done its job for a long time and expects nothing more. There are magazines on the table in front of you, at least they're shaped like magazines. The covers are blank, white, glossy. You flip one open. Every page is just a single word in the center. Almost. Wait. Maybe. The rest of the text is gone, or never printed. You put the magazine down. A small television is mounted in the upper corner of the room. It plays a loop of a looping hallway. One camera, one angle. The hallway stretches, flickers, resets. You can't hear it. The captions say, "Please stay seated. You are not late." There's a clock on the wall. It has no hands. You look toward the door you entered from, but it's not there anymore. There's only more wall. The paint doesn't even break where a frame might have been. You're not trapped, just paused. There's a sound, almost a bell, almost a chime, but it fades before you can be sure it happened. You rise, The chair doesn't creak, the carpet remembers your weight and smooths itself over. On the wall to your right, near where the vending machine ends, is a sign that simply says, "Soon." Just above it, a small door. No knob, no frame, just a seam in the paint. It opens when you reach it. The next space is narrow, sloped. A hallway again, but the air is warmer now, and you feel lighter. And something ahead is starting to shift. You walk down the sloped hallway, and though your steps are slow, the walls move faster than you do. At first, you don't notice. The carpet here is clean, gold-toned, with a pattern so subtle it only reveals itself in your peripheral vision, a woven ripple like shallow waves under still water. The lights overhead are round, dim, and set into the ceiling at regular intervals. You pass under them like beads on a string. After a few steps, you pause, and the light behind you turns off, softly, without sound. You take another step. The next one goes dark too. There's no hurry. The corridor isn't chasing you. It's just releasing you. Segment by segment, you glance back and find the hallway is longer than it was, much longer. The light at the far end where you entered is just a faint dot now, and then it blinks out. You're not afraid. You should be. But this place doesn't reward fear. It doesn't punish it either. It just continues. Every time you stop walking, the hallway breathes behind you, extending, shifting, lengthening, as if it's been holding back its own stretch until you allowed it to relax. The moment you move again, it goes quiet. The walls are beige again, but richer now, almost golden. There are no decorations, no signs, just that carpet, just those lights. You hum a little under your breath, not even a song, just a tone, and it feels right. The hum matches the space. It fills the corridor gently, as though sound had been waiting for you to give it shape. Ahead, the hall starts to slope upward slightly. The incline is easy, barely there, but you feel it in your legs. The floor texture changes without warning. Carpet into smooth vinyl, then tile, then carpet again. The lights above flicker now. Not malfunctioning, more like blinking, in rhythm with your steps. You don't test it, but you know that if you walk backwards, they might blink in reverse. One of the lights above you buzzes gently, just one. The hum is familiar, like a fridge late at night, like an empty room remembering a conversation. You find yourself walking in time with it. Step, buzz, step, buzz. The walls now curve inward ever so slightly, as if they're closing in, not to trap you, but to cradle you. The feeling is not confinement, it's containment. The way a hand cups water, the way a shell holds a quiet ocean inside. Behind you, the corridor has become a tunnel, soft golden light fading into distance. No door, no beginning, just the memory of movement. You stop again. This time, the floor behind you lifts just a little, like a tongue pressing gently against the roof of a mouth. You turn forward again and keep walking. There's no need to look back anymore. Eventually, the walls change. They widen. The curve flattens. The lights stop blinking. And then, up ahead, there's no door. But the hallway opens, and you step into a room that has no walls, no ceiling, only a floor, and the sky. The transition is seamless, so subtle you only realize it once you're already inside. The hallway ends without fanfare. No doorframe, no threshold, just space. The room opens around you like a held breath exhaling. There are no walls, just columns, tall, thin, evenly spaced. They rise into nothing, white or maybe bone-colored, and disappear far above your head. into a sky that feels too large to be inside anything. It stretches out, a soft, hazy dome of pale lavender and cloudless light. It doesn't change when you blink. It doesn't move when you stare. But it watches, in the way the sea watches, quietly, without concern. The floor beneath your feet is linoleum, pale yellow, scuffed in patches, rippling slightly where it's warped from age or time or heat. It hums with stillness, a low pressure, like a gymnasium after everyone's gone home. Somewhere near the edge of the space, you see a shopping cart. It's metal, slightly rusted, missing one wheel. It sits alone, at an angle, facing no particular direction. Inside it is a single piece of paper. You walk over. It's a receipt, blank. The printer ink has faded completely, but you still hold it. Fold it once, then again, and place it back in the cart. There's no sound except the soft squeak of your shoes on the floor. The air smells faintly like dust and something warm. It might be sunlight, or just your memory of it. You begin to walk, slow and even. There's no resistance, no incline. The space doesn't shift beneath you, but it feels larger the longer you're in it, as if each step you take unlocks more sky, more height, more vertical room for thoughts you haven't had yet. A small piece of fabric drifts by, suspended in the air like it was caught in a breeze you can't feel. It flutters gently and lands at your feet. It's part of a sleeve, white cotton, frayed at the end. You leave it there. One of the columns near you has writing carved into it, very small. You have to lean close to read it. You didn't miss it, that's all. No context, no signature. You step back and walk on. The sky above you brightens slightly. No sun, no beam of light, just the slow, soft weight of something lifting on your shoulders, your eyes, your sense of having had to try. And there, near what might be the far side of the space, is a low bench. You sit, it's plastic, hollow, not uncomfortable. You look up. There's nothing to interpret, no meaning offered, no symbol waiting to be unwrapped. Just open, just sky. You sit a while longer, and when you finally stand, you find yourself facing something new. A wall, just one. Tiled, endless rows of small drawers, labels missing, handles silent, and on each one, just one word, yours. The wall stretches far wider than it should, longer than the sky room you just came from, longer than any space you remember crossing, but it's here, solid, still, waiting. It's made of drawers, thousands of them, identical in shape, square, metal-faced, with small tarnished handles and narrow slots where labels might have once gone. The surface is smooth, slightly reflective, as though someone polished them long ago and then stopped. None of the drawers are labeled now, but some of them, not loudly, not all at once, just one here, and then another, like something behind them is breathing very slowly. You walk the length of the wall, your fingers trailing across the cool metal. Every drawer gives the same gentle resistance when touched, but none of them open, not even the ones that buzz softly when your palm rests against them. You pause in front of one drawer, no different from the rest, and realize it's warmer than the others, not hot, not even heated, just not as cold. The hum behind it is barely audible, a low persistent frequency, like the sound of electricity beneath your skin. You don't try to open it, you just nod. There's a break in the wall ahead, an open archway leading into what looks like a small room, though it's too dark to see inside. Just beside the entrance is a table, short, wooden, dusty. On the table is a filing cabinet. Only one drawer is open. The folders inside are neatly arranged, each labeled in thin typewriter font. Hello, I used to be. Hello, I might have been. Hello, I still am. You don't touch them. But the titles settle into your chest like a small weight, not unpleasant, just anchoring. A small bell sits next to the cabinet, not attached to anything, just a silver desk bell like you'd find in a lobby or waiting room. You press it. It doesn't ring. Instead, a small light flicks on above the doorway ahead, a warm glow. You follow it. The room inside isn't large. The drawers continue here, too, but fewer of them. And in the center of the room is a single chair facing a mirror. It is not like the mirrors before. This one is clean, unbroken, framed in dark wood. It reflects you exactly as you are. When you breathe, so does it. When you blink, it blinks. But it doesn't feel like watching yourself. It feels like being seen. There's no fear in it, no judgment, no memory you weren't ready for, just you. And for a moment, it's enough. You leave the mirror. On your way out, you pass a rack of name tags mounted to a corkboard. Each tag reads, hello. Hello, I used to be. Hello, I remember now. Hello, I forgot again. Each one slightly bent from wear, some overlapping, some missing their pins. You take none. You walk on. There's a hallway beyond, glowing softly with yellow light. Not fluorescent now, not buzzing, just warmth, the kind of light that comes from lamps left on overnight in places meant to feel safe. The air is still, but the stillness is peaceful. And the sign on the next door is small, white, and hand-painted. It says, exit. But it doesn't promise anything. The door marked exit is plain, not grand, not dramatic, just a soft yellow rectangle set into the far wall like it's always been there. The paint is smooth, the corners rounded from time and care. The sign above it isn't official. It's handwritten, the brushstrokes visible, a little uneven. The kind of sign someone made for themselves, not for others. You press your palm to the surface. It doesn't open. It just yields, gives a little, and then swings inward without resistance. The space beyond is a hallway again, but it isn't like the others. The ceiling is lower here. The light is warmer, a deeper gold, now verging on amber. The walls slope inward slightly, not to compress you but to wrap you. There's no floor pattern, no repeated tile, just soft texture underfoot, almost fabric, almost cloud. You begin walking, though it feels more like drifting. Your shoes don't make a sound, not because of the floor, because you've stopped carrying sound with you. The hallway narrows and widens without warning. It tilts a little to the left, then smooths out. The ceiling lowers, then lifts, then lowers again. None of it is sharp. The changes arrive slowly, like waves rolling over sand. Each moment different from the last, but part of the same rhythm. There are alcoves in the walls now, recesses, nooks. Inside them, objects. Not important ones. Just familiar. A toy from your childhood. A photo frame you don't own. A jacket that was almost yours once. Each item lit by a soft, golden spotlight, like a museum of almosts. You don't stop. You don't reach in. They are not for taking. They are for remembering. Eventually, the hallway slopes upward again. Not a hill, not stairs, just enough incline to remind your legs they're still here. You feel lighter with each step. Not euphoric, not floating, just unburdened, like something has been gently lifting from your back in layers. Not memories, not pain. Just the hum of everything you've ever carried in silence. You reach a corner, and the hallway begins to curve. The light here has no source. It seems to glow from the air itself, warm, deep, steady. You could fall asleep standing up. The curve continues, wrapping inward like the inside of a seashell, and at the far end the space begins to open, widening not just in dimension, but in meaning. You feel it before you see it, a sense of threshold, a gentle yes, and then you enter the final room. There is no door behind you. There is no anything behind you. Just this. The final room is white, not stark, not sterile, soft white, like bed sheets, like breath. The color of clouds seen from beneath when the storm is gone and the light has found its way back through. The carpet is plush, thicker than anything before. It gives gently underfoot and doesn't push back. You feel it around your steps, not beneath them, like you're being held instead of standing. There are no lights on the ceiling, but it is lit perfectly. Every corner filled without shadow, the kind of light that belongs to no time of day, that doesn't come from a bulb or a sun or a moon. It just is. There is nothing here, no furniture, no mirrors, no clocks. But you are not alone. The air is full, not with people, not with presence, just fullness, as if everything that was once scattered has gathered quietly into this one final breath. You walk to the center of the room without meaning to. Your feet bring you there on their own, and you stop. Not because something tells you to, because there's nothing left to reach for. There is no noise. But there is no silence either, just the soft, quiet hum of a space that doesn't ask anything of you. You close your eyes, and when you do, the room doesn't disappear. It waits, gently, like a hand on your shoulder, like a page held open. You lower yourself onto the carpet. It accepts your weight, but does not keep it. You feel your body settle, but also begin to dissolve. Not gone, just no longer needed. You let your thoughts unspool. They stretch. They wander. They rest. You're not dreaming. You're not awake. You're not anywhere else. The light fades just slightly now, like his room is closing its eyes with you. No buzz, no echo, no door. Just this and sleep. Thank you for listening.